So here we are, 2026. The year would have been 2000. My wife and I just got married, and we're living in an apartment. I was not raised in the house of a handyman. Um, the apartment we were living in, it was new. It was like a year old, and the air just shut down and stopped working. Um, and I called the landlord, and I'm like, "Hey, the air stopped working and just shut off." And he asked me a question, and he said, "Did you change the filter?" Yeah, I learned a big lesson that day. Something I hadn't learned. I mean, I was like, 21 years old, 22 years old. And so I went and looked at the filter. Um, it was in the laundry closet area, and I can't believe the nastiest, thickest, most gross, gunked up filter I'd ever seen in my life. And changed the filter, fixed the filter, air ran like it was supposed to. Hey, welcome to Lunch with Chris YouTube Live. I go live noon Eastern on Wednesdays. And maybe you're having breakfast on the West Coast. Maybe like me, your day didn't go like you thought it would with a couple of little dominoes. And so I got my coffee. That's my lunch right now. Lunch to be enjoyed after. But so today, what we're doing at the YouTube Live Lunch with Chris is I give you a teaching. We're thematically organizing it very often. Give you some thoughtful things that you can have as some takeaways, and then we hit any questions you have at the end. And they could be any questions because we solve leadership problems at SightShift, or it could be germane to the topic. So here's today. Here's what we're about: the filter. I'm going to say something that, as I walk through this, if you want to throw in the chat things that stand out to you, feel free to do that. I'm going to say something that is going to make sense to you until you actually experience it for the first time. So if I told you to think about a table, you're going to picture a table in your head, right? Just like take a moment and picture a table. So you're picturing a table and you're thinking. What's so radical about people that have a free mind, that know how to lead at the highest levels, that know how to build leaders who build leaders, who have a non-reactive identity — there's a million ways I could talk about it — is they don't just think about a table, they think about their thinking about the table. Like, to think about your thinking, to notice your thinking, is the most powerful thing that you can ever experience as a key to unlock freedom in your mind like you've never known. Now, before you even understand the dynamics of this, let's just talk about the reality of having a free mind. The stats are in. Most people don't have a free mind. Most people are in a place that they're really a slave to the way that they were raised, the pervasive influences in the world around them, the narratives in the air. I mean, it's pretty wild when you start to look at people and you start to understand how they ideologically conform to fit in. I mean, there's a million ways that I could see this, and dang it, the things that pop in my head. I mean, this is what's popping in my head now. If you see somebody in a Subaru with a Ukraine sticker, you're not going to be like, "Hey, that doesn't make sense." If you see somebody driving a Tesla with a Black Lives Matter sticker, you're going to be like, "Hey, that doesn't make sense." Like, I'm not saying I agree with all these things. These are all ideological breakdowns, but everyone is living without awareness, beholden to some kind of narrative in their mind. Very few people, like about 30% in the human population, so take 10 people, 3 of them are going to get to a place that they're more free of that. They're reactive. They're like, I don't know who I am, but I'm not that. That's why it's easy to deceive college students. You can just get them angry at what they were raised with. I was a professor for a number of years. My classes were waitlisted, and the reason is because I didn't just get them spun up, reactive, angry against what they were raised with. I taught them how to think. That's what I'm going to do for you today, too, in a light introductory way. 1% roughly. I argue in the new book about 3% is at the convergence zone, but we could say 1 to 3%. People in their minds are free. Here's the way that I would word it. They actually know how their mind is filtering their thoughts, their observations, their emotions, their experiences. You have a filter in your mind. You do. And that filter in your mind causes you to view your experiences and circumstances through how you were raised, through what you're reacting to, or for very few people, they get a clean, pure filter. Now, my way of coming at this in terms of leadership is looking at when you're under stress or pressure, when you feel like the client's unhappy, when you wonder where you stand with the boss, when you wonder what your spot is on the team, when you are a little afraid you're about to get fired, will AI replace me? When all of these things are happening in your world, when you have a personal crisis and challenge that is hurting your ability to show up and lead at work, these pressure points cause your filter to be very evident. Like, that's the idea. The filter's kind of there all the time, but when the pressure's on, this filter becomes clear. And the filter of how you're processing, it's a lot of what you're just repeating, what you were raised with, reacting to out of insecurity. The filter that's happening there in your mind in that moment, that's causing you to really become a wallflower in a meeting. Make yourself really big because you feel insecure, and you make people feel small. To rush through a moment and just grab for the first decision, to take too long and avoid making a critical call, to not be able to see a future better than the one you're experiencing and make peace with the gap between the vision and the resources so that you can persevere to get there. To have to insist on being right and go down in a ball of flames in an argument because I got to get my pound of flesh. All of this is what happens in the mind under pressure. A simple way we say it all the time is when your mind is under pressure, you're going to lead for your own validation. You're going to lead to get something affirming the doubts you have about yourself. This happens all day long. Think about the narcissistic leaders, the ones that power up and the ones that are making others feel small. It's because they're insecure. And there are lots of ways we not only lead for our own validation, we lead to not be invalidated. The ways we don't make courageous calls and put a stamp on a decision and stake a claim and have a strong viewpoint and go all in on something and not hold back when we feel like it's something we're supposed to be doing, and showing up and living our purpose and mission in the world and not giving up, even if that mission and purpose is taking a long time to materialize. The ways that we don't give our full effort to something because we hide. We don't want to be invalidated. Look, when the mind is under pressure, it grabs to be validated or it avoids being invalidated. And what we're saying to you is the best leaders know how to lead for impact, not validation. How? They notice the motive of their decision making. They notice the filter in their mind that's producing the way that they make sense of reality, the observations. I mean, I could go through the day you're going through and take away completely different observations. You could go through the day I'm going through and take away completely different observations because there's a movie in your head and it's how you're making sense of reality. And wouldn't it be worth something if you could figure out what that movie is? Wouldn't it be worth something if you could figure out, like, these are the scenes that are playing out. This is how I'm viewing this current moment in my world. This is the movie in my head. But what if I could shift the perspective and see it from a different point of view, not just the one that I'm indexing on? There is a mental mechanism that kicks off in your head, speed of thought without awareness. When you're under pressure, when you're under stress, boom, that filter is dirty, and you are just repeating something you were raised with. You're reacting to it blindly. Your mind is not free. Wouldn't it be worth something if you could see what's happening when that mental mechanism kicks in and it causes you to lead for insecurity, to get validated, to prove? It causes you to lead for insecurity, to hide, to try to not be invalidated. Wouldn't that be worth something? Yes, it's changed my life. I mean, 2008, so almost 20 years doing this work. For years, I did retreats. For 10 years, we've been doing this as a company. More than 10 years now. I lose track of time. There's 11 published books, 12 published books, whatever, I lose track, courses, hundreds of podcasts, testimonials from Finland to Florida, California to China, case studies. You go look them up. I don't need to tell you about it. The 10 years, 10 stories, figure that shift out. We see lives changed. Why? Because we bring a flashlight into that mental mechanism, that moment that kicks in when you're leading for your own validation and you're not leading for impact. Wouldn't it be worth something if we could isolate that moment out and help you take that 3% of the day when you're most insecure and shift that moment? Wouldn't it be worth something so that you could figure out the default pressure you move to, the leadership mistake you make when you're under pressure, when you feel threatened, when you're insecure? Wouldn't that be worth something? Yeah, it's changed my life and it's changing the lives of others. And so what we did at SightShift a number of years ago was get all of that put into a diagnostic, a measurement tool like no other. Look, I have been around the leadership assessment block. I mean, I've been taking things that are so advanced to so simple for decades. I mean, I remember one of them, the military used it, and I got access to this through an event, and it was super long and in depth. And then I went through a multi-day excursion around it where we were put on a team that would draw out the worst in us so we could know ourselves. And it was valuable. It was valuable. It definitely showed me fruit to the insecure parts of my leadership, even though they didn't use that language, but they didn't show me the root. What's the filter that's producing that behavior? You've taken them. You've taken them. The tests that tell you, oh, this is what you do. Yep, that is what I do. And it's fun to take those over the years and go, man, that is what I do. That is what I do. Now, I've seen the stupidest thing happen ever in leadership environments in corporate America, where you take those results and go, hey, this is how you should communicate with me. What a crappy way to lead for your own validation. No. So personality tests tell you what you do. Fine. That's not the space we're playing in. They can be great to get your awareness started. They can be helpful, but they don't change your life. And so we know the mental mechanism that kicks in when you get insecure. And we've been coaching and building leaders around that and training coaches around that for over 10 years, full-time leading this company and this organization for longer than that before it was the full-time effort. And we found these like 9 identity fears that shape the mental filter in your mind for how you make sense of reality. And you are your own unique combination of these data points, because I can look at someone's data and understand so much about who they are. And I can see the patterns that would group them into larger groupings, but I can also see the individual specific pieces that make up the unique profile of who they are. And we got it into a measurement, and it's something we could spend hours on with just one person having a conversation, to look at how you're making sense of stress and how it's firing off that default mistake under pressure, because it comes out of the way you filter moments in your mind, because that mental mechanism kicks in and you've never thought about your thinking. We can do that. We can see how you're relating to stress. Are you growing because you're activated in the correct sweet spot of stress, or are you not activated, not challenged, or overwhelmed, stressed, tired, exhausted, about to fade out? We built all this, and we've been doing it for years, measuring leaders, and we have so much impact in the coaching through it. And the studies we've produced, I still can't believe like how much value there is in them. It's called the IFQ, the Identity Fear Quotient. We're having a conversation about leadership that is not the conversation most people are having. We're looking at that default mistake you make under pressure, why it's there, and how you can get a plan to shift that behavior. Now, the reason I'm talking about it today, and I should talk about it every YouTube live. Like I should do every YouTube live just talking about the IFQ. And I could from endless ways. It wouldn't even be me repeating myself. The reason I'm talking about it today is because today we launched the newest version. Now, we've gone through a number of iterations, a number of versions, but this one's special because really a couple years ago, we started paying attention to the way people look at their results and interact with them. Um, not everybody is ready for the full brunt truth of, oh my gosh, this is where my filter needs to get clean. So we've shifted the IFQ to start the conversation with, when your filter is clean, this is how you best lead. When your thinking is at its best, when you're not making that mistake under pressure, when you're operating at a level, when you're leading at a level that is you at your most brilliant self. You are the leader you are meant to be when you lead this way. The new IFQ leads with that. And we found this was a more effective way to start the conversation. Now, what's really cool about today and for the next couple of weeks, if you go to take the IFQ, Identity Fear Quotient, take the IFQ.com, starting today, as of today, in this moment, in this going live, it's free. It's free. It'll be free till September 13th. For those that take it up until September 13th, they're going to get an invitation to be a part of a free virtual workshop where I'm going to coach you on your results and help you understand yourself. This is the thing. There are two kinds of people in the world. Those that want to turn over the stone and get better, and those that don't. And what excuse could you have? It's free. It's free. It takes 15 minutes. We've designed it with the best data science that you can't game it. You can't trick it. It's just going to be a mirror, and it's going to reveal what's there. And it is so profound to me. 2008. I'm sitting in the front room of our house, and these insights are hitting around this idea of basically what makes up the Identity Fear Quotient. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if somebody knocked on the door right now and said, here's $100K, can you change my life? Yes. That's doable. We can position you for that kind of transformation, that this is the most life-changing thing you've ever done. And we coached people through it for years. And we still coach people through it, of course, but we coached people through it for years without the IFQ. And, a lot of gut and intuition and exercises to get them to show up with the greatest awareness of their filter. And it was wild. When the IFQ came out, the first version, years ago, there were people that I had coached that took it, and then their data was slightly different than how they showed up in the coaching. And I was like, yeah, but that makes so much more sense because it operated at a deeper level. It may show you something that you're not even ready for at the deepest levels. A lot of times people aren't ready to see the core fear in their identity. They're just ready for layers out from that. I don't know. Your story is your story. I know this. In every industry you can imagine, every room we've been in, international, national, whatever, the data is the data. And there are people that go, whoa, how did this do that in 15 minutes? And some people kind of wonder, maybe, and they show it to somebody that they're close with, maybe a spouse, and the spouse is like, yeah, nailed it. It's funny when we're with a team and the team leader's like, yeah, that's them, but it missed me. And everybody side eyes each other. Nothing has added more value in my life than recognizing who I can be in the moment if I would stop making the default mistake I make under pressure and to shift that behavior. Nothing has made a greater difference for me in the way that I relate to friends, deepen friendships, in the way that I lead and serve the team at SightShift, in the way I relate to my wife, in the way I lead and interact with my kids. I raised 3 kids with this knowledge, and it was life-changing for me. And this is us at SightShift. This is our passion. This is our vision, and our mission is to get this out in the world because we know the difference it makes, because insecure leaders are ruining the world. You know that, and I know that. And our insecure moments ruin our world. And it's freaking free. Go take it. Take the IFQ.com. This is your chance, and I don't want you to miss it. Thank you for being the kind of leader who cares and wants to get better. At SightShift, we solve leader problems. That's what we do. And the best way we can solve leader problems in the most foundational, transformative way, right from the get-go, is to help a leader see the mental mechanism that kicks in, their insecurity, the default mistake they make under pressure, to learn to notice their thinking. More transformation is there for you. If you want it, go get it. TakeTheIFQ.com. Thanks for being here. Lunch with Chris today. Drop whatever stands out in the chat. Ask any questions. Peace out, everybody.